It's 8 p.m. and I'm taking a trip to the airport to explore another sleep-related problem. Jet lag. Jet lag happens when you travel across several time zones. Before you know it, your internal biological clock is completely out of sync with your new environment. It can take your circadian rhythms days to catch up. These folks are anxiously awaiting the arrival of their family friend, Fleur Rampoon. So you just got in from France. How do you feel now?
I feel excited.
Really? Well, it's 8 p.m. here. What time is it where you live?
2 in the morning.
2 in the morning, and you feel fine?
Yes. We're used to go dancing.
Oh, okay. So you never experience jet lag when you travel like this?
Not really. It's worse when I go back home.
How does it affect you when you go home?
You feel hungry right in the middle of the night, and it's just not sunny outside, so...
Fleur is right. Jet lag is worse going east, against the direction of the sun. Scientists once studied baseball teams. Those that had to travel west with the sun won more games than those that traveled east. In the battle against jet lag, many travelers today are using melatonin supplements. As darkness approaches, our internal clock triggers the release of melatonin. As the level of the hormone rises in our body, we begin to feel drowsy. A dose of melatonin may induce sleep, reset your internal clock, and offset the effects of jet lag. So you don't do anything like taking melatonin or setting your clocks?
I had never heard about it until today in the plane. A woman told me about it.
What did she say?
She said she had forgotten to take one, but she usually takes it.
So you don't think you'll have any problems? You're going to wake up tomorrow, regular time?
I hope so.
I think it's because you're young, that's why.
Maybe.
Okay, well, I'm going to go let you see your family, okay?
Okay,
Thanks
thank you.
for talking with us.
You're welcome.
If you're planning a trip, here are a few things you can do to minimize the effects of jet lag. Select a flight that allows early evening arrival and stay up until 10 p.m. local time. Anticipate the change by going to sleep at your new bedtime for several days prior to your trip. Avoid caffeine and alcohol. Both interfere with your sleep. And if these tips don't bring you relief, don't worry. There's a new remedy that's based on our understanding that our brain uses light to synchronize our daily rhythms. These space-age specs are actually a prototype for a new product that just might turn out to be a foolproof remedy for jet lag. Wear them on the plane, and these sensors beam lights into your eyes, which gradually reset your internal clock. So, by the time you land, you're fresh as a daisy. Well, it's the middle of the night, and I'm still awake. But that's because I'm trying to stay awake. See that person up there in the window? She's an insomniac, and tonight she's going to pace the floor for hours trying to fall asleep. Almost 2/3 of Americans report some trouble falling asleep at least a few nights a week. Let's say we go meet our troubled sleeper. But shh, the rest of the neighborhood's sleeping. Allison Make has insomnia. It's not just trouble falling asleep. Many insomniacs have trouble staying asleep, and many find themselves waking up too early. Allison felt the full effects when she entered college.
Being an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old college student, it affected my social life, and that was really hard. I felt like, this problem was really taking away my life, and it was every day, and it would only get worse.
Allison's doctors prescribed sleeping pills. The most common sleeping pills are benzodiazepines. These work by suppressing arousal centers in the brain. A newer class of drugs called imidazopyridines encourages deep sleep. But all sleeping pills are short-term fixes. They can create rebound insomnia and dependence.
I got psychologically dependent on the medication, and since it wasn't really helping me, I wanted to go off of that.
Frustrated by her experience with sleeping pills, Allison looked for an alternative. There are herbals such as chamomile, which may reduce stress and promote sleep. Hops, which helps induce sleep by suppressing central nervous system activity. and passion flower, which some people use as a mild sedative to calm the body.
You've had insomnia for a couple years.
In consultation with naturopathic Dr. Shiva Barton, Allison tried a combination of alternatives. He gave her vitamin B6, which helps build a chemical precursor to melatonin. And he changed her diet to increase her blood sugar so she wouldn't wake up hungry in the middle of the night.
It was really hard to believe that that was going to work, and I was a little bit cynical, but probably within a couple of weeks or a month's time, I saw definite results.
For Allison, alternative medicine came to the rescue. Her insomnia is finally under control. And best of all, she experienced a sign, at least for her, that she's cured.
One day I went to set my alarm, but I forgot to actually turn it on, and then I ended up oversleeping, and it was very exciting. So instead of being upset that I was late to work, everyone was pretty excited for me that I was late to work, and my dad actually congratulated me that I had overslept. So that was exciting. That was very exciting.
This patient is about to learn a relaxation technique that may help some people avoid sleep medication. Over the next 15 minutes, she will concentrate on her breathing and repeat a simple word over and over. As she does this relaxation exercise, Greg Jacobs measures her brain waves. He is looking for a wave pattern called theta.
Theta is the brainwave pattern that you produce as you fall asleep. The purple on this bar indicates low amounts of theta activity. Then what we have measured in our research is what do those brainwave patterns look like when somebody has been trained on relaxation techniques. But instead of just seeing purple, now we're seeing areas of green in the frontal and temporal areas of the brain. And that's exactly what is necessary for sleep onset to occur.
Greg Jacobs' research is showing relaxation therapy can produce the exact brainwave patterns associated with sleep. Try a few relaxation techniques at home, and perhaps you may be able to put your sleeping pills away.
The majority of patients who learn mind, body, and behavioral approaches actually become normal sleepers. That's probably the biggest plus of using these mind, body, and behavioral approaches is they're very, very effective. They have very few side effects. They're very inexpensive, and they are a nice alternative to sleeping medications.
If you have trouble nodding off, even occasionally, sleep specialists have devised a list of tips that will dramatically increase your chances of sleeping like a baby. The key is to practice good sleep hygiene. Avoid caffeine, nicotine, and alcohol in the late afternoon and evening. Exercise regularly, but not within 3 hours of bedtime. Try white noise, like a fan. It can often encourage sleep. Take a warm bath about an hour and a half before bedtime. Your body temperature will drop rapidly, which induces sleep. And finally, don't look at the clock. Obsessing over time only makes it more difficult to sleep. Imagine if every time you went to bed, your life became a terrifying and inescapable horror film. You see visions of spiders and snakes and people crouched beside your bedside. Your body shoots up into a sitting position and you moan and you're sweating and you let out a blood-curdling scream. Your eyes are wide open, but you're not even close to being awake. I'm not talking about your run-of-the-mill nightmares. I'm talking about night terrors. For David Richards, night terrors have been a lifelong problem.
Night terror is basically an altered type of a nightmare where your body is actually seeing something in the room, or you're imagining that something is touching you. You feel spiders, snakes, any kind of little animals, and it's usually not things that you're afraid of in daytime.
A regular nightmare occurs in the dreaming stage of sleep, but a night terror occurs during non-REM sleep. Scientists put night terrors in a class of disorders called parasomnias, where the individual gets caught between sleeping and waking.
I've found myself down at the bottom of a set of stairs. I've run out of the room and stood up on the kitchen table, crouched for somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes from the time I left my bed. Usually I'm trying to escape whatever it is that I'm seeing in my night terror, which can range anywhere from spiders, snakes, to people standing over me.
Sleep terrors are characterized by a rapid heart rate, measuring as high as an astounding 170 beats per minute.
You know you're having a night terror from your heart rate. It is so fast that you feel like your heart is ready to jump out of your chest.
Nobody knows what causes night terrors, and though regular exercise and medication can often help, for David, there's been no relief. His ordeal has been no ordinary nightmare.
If you see the look of terror on somebody's face when they're having a night terror, whether they're awake or not, that look is there, and the eyes are just the wildest eyes you've ever seen. You're not going to get that during a regular nightmare. That's only something you're going to see in a night terror. And it happens every single time.
Michael Horseman has no problem getting to sleep. He just can't stay in bed. Michael has another type of parasomnia. He is a chronic sleepwalker.
When I was about 7 or 8, I would come down the stairs, walk down my parents' hallway, stand in the doorway, and sometimes just stand there. Other times I would go in the kitchen, get a drink, just little things like that, or I would just wake up and then have no idea how I got up.
Most sleepwalkers outgrow the condition by adolescence. Mike, however, did not. As he grew older, his sleepwalking episodes only got worse.
The episodes kind of got worse. I would just bolt downstairs, like screaming or yelling or something. At one point it got so bad where I ripped my closet door off the wall, shattered the light bulb inside the closet, and left the closet door on the floor. Then woke up the next morning and had no idea what happened. I'm pretty laid back, easygoing. I don't usually rip closet doors off the wall.
These violent outbursts were completely out of character for Mike, and they were now alarming his family.
At that point, he was 17 years old, and he was 6 feet tall at that point. So he was a bit intimidating to me.
My mom actually became scared because I'm a little bigger than her.
One of the last episodes, he bolted out of bed and appeared right next to me at my bed, stating he didn't like snakes and I had lied to him. And he had such a look in his eye. I was afraid. I'd never seen that look before. So he went back to bed, and before I went back to bed, I hid all the knives, all the sharp knives in the kitchen, because it was a different look in his eye, and we'd never seen that before.
They took Mike to Dr. Judith Owens at the Hasbro Children's Hospital Sleep Clinic. Dr. Owens is an expert in parasomnias like sleepwalking and night terrors.
It's almost as though the individual is caught between being in a very deep stage of sleep and going on to a lighter stage of sleep or even being awake. So the behavior is characterized by both sleeping and waking features. The brain is essentially asleep, but the individual behaves as though they're awake in some ways.
Dr. Owens insisted that Mike keep a sleep diary, charting when he went to bed, when he awoke, and anything that happened in between. After 2 weeks, this simple log helped Owens determine the cause of the sleepwalking.
What we discovered was that he really was very sleep deprived. He was not getting enough sleep on a consistent basis, as is true with many teenagers, unfortunately. And we felt that that was really probably the major contributing factor. He was also drinking a huge amount of caffeinated beverages during the day as well, which we thought was probably contributing to his difficulty falling asleep.
Sleepwalking can be triggered by fever, anxiety, or in this case, sleep deprivation. For Michael, the treatment was simple: a caffeine boycott and a good night's sleep. The results were almost immediate.
We were surprised that it happened so fast. But just by him changing a few habits, he stayed in bed.
Exactly. We were very relieved that he didn't have to go on any medication, that what they recommended the first time worked.
For Mike, his sleep is finally what it was always meant to be: restful, plentiful, and thankfully travel-free.